Chapter 1 Introduction. In the heart of a serene and unassuming town named Harmonyville, where the pace of life danced to the rhythm of routine, there existed a young man named Jake. Nestled in the embrace of familiarity, Jake embodied the epitome of an ordinary existence, complete with routine strolls down cobblestone streets and casual greetings exchanged with familiar faces. Jake, despite his seemingly unremarkable nature, harbored a flame that set him apart from the townsfolk, an extraordinary passion for unraveling mysteries. His everyday attire and modest demeanor belied the vibrant world that thrived within the corridors of his mind. There, a symphony of curiosity played, and an insatiable hunger for the enigmatic stories that hid behind the facade of mundane life burned brightly. As the town's unspoken detective, Jake's reputation rested upon the foundation of two pillars: his keen observation skills and a logical prowess that rivaled the great minds of detective novels he voraciously consumed. Whether it was deducing the missing pieces of a neighbor's misplaced keys or piecing together the fragments of a town event gone awry, Jake's presence in Harmonyville was synonymous with clarity in the face of confusion. Little did Jake fathom that the tranquility of his routine, the comfortable predictability of Harmonyville, was but a prelude to a chapter that would rewrite the script of his life. The soft echoes of footsteps along cobbled streets, and the familiar hum of conversations at the local cafe masked the impending storm that brewed on the horizon. Fate, in its whimsical design, had chosen Harmonyville as the stage for a tale that would weave the ordinary threads of Jake's life into a tapestry of mystery and tragedy. In the quaint charm of Harmonyville, where everyone knew everyone else's stories, Jake's narrative was about to take an unexpected turn. The quiet town, with its picturesque scenes of everyday life, was on the verge of transformation. As the curtain lifted on this chapter of Jake's journey, the air was charged with an unseen energy, and the shadows hinted at secrets waiting to be unveiled. Little did Jake know that the pages of his own story were about to be filled with a narrative far more intricate and unpredictable than any detective novel he had ever devoured. The ordinary days of Harmonyville were about to give way to a tale that would stir the hearts of its residents and etch Jake's name into the annals of the town's history.
Chapter 2: The Ordinary Day. Under the warm embrace of the morning sun, Jake found himself engrossed in his usual routine at the local cafe. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air as he sat, sipping his favorite blend, his mind momentarily escaping into the pages of a well-worn detective novel. Little did he anticipate that the serenity of this ordinary day would soon be pierced by a conversation that would set in motion a chain of events, altering the course of his life. As Jake leisurely sipped his coffee, the buzz of conversations around him blended into a soothing background hum. The town's quaint cafe was a haven where tales were exchanged, laughter resonated, and the pulse of Harmonyville could be felt in every corner. It was in this unassuming setting that the first ripples of the impending mystery reached Jake's ears. The townspeople, usually engrossed in the ebb and flow of their daily lives, were now huddled in small groups, their voices hushed and faces adorned with expressions ranging from concern to bewilderment. Curiosity pricked at Jake's consciousness, pulling him away from the fictional world of his book and into the realm of reality unfolding around him. As he discreetly tuned into the conversations, a name resonated through the air: Mrs. Thompson. A respected and cherished figure in Harmonyville, Mrs. Thompson had been an enduring presence, her kindness a beacon that had illuminated the lives of those around her for decades. The air grew heavy with concern as the townspeople exchanged whispers about her sudden and unexplained disappearance. Mrs. Thompson, a pillar of the community, had woven herself into the fabric of Harmonyville. Her acts of kindness, whether through delivering freshly baked pies to neighbors or volunteering at the local community center, had endeared her to the hearts of all. The revelation of her disappearance cast a shadow over the town, leaving behind a void that resonated with the collective sorrow of the community. As Jake absorbed the gravity of the news, he felt a stirring within him, a familiar tug of his detective instincts. The ordinary day had taken an unforeseen turn, and the tranquility of Harmonyville was now disrupted by the enigma of Mrs. Thompson's disappearance. The once ordinary conversations in the cafe had transformed into a murmuring symphony of worry, prompting Jake to set aside his detective novels and prepare to embark on a real-life mystery that would unravel the threads of the town's closely-knit community. Little did he know that this ordinary day marked the beginning of a journey that would challenge his skills, unravel the complexities of human relationships, and weave a tale of mystery and tragedy that Harmonyville would never forget.
Chapter 3: The Mystery Unfolds. Driven by an unrelenting curiosity and a determination to unravel the enigma that had gripped Harmonyville, Jake embarked on a solitary journey to Mrs. Thompson's house. The gentle breeze carried a sense of urgency, whispering secrets that urged Jake to take matters into his own hands. As he approached the residence of the missing elderly woman, the familiar sights of Harmonyville now seemed draped in an unsettling shroud of mystery. The door creaked open with a sigh, revealing the silence that hung in the air within Mrs. Thompson's home. The once welcoming ambience now felt heavy, and a palpable tension lingered in every corner. Jake, undeterred by the eerie atmosphere, stepped across the threshold, ready to dive into the heart of the mystery that awaited him. The rooms, once filled with warmth and the echoes of Mrs. Thompson's laughter, now seemed frozen in time. Pictures on the walls captured moments of joy and community events, portraying a life that had been abruptly interrupted. Jake's keen eyes scanned the surroundings, searching for any subtle hint or overlooked detail that might unveil the whereabouts of the missing woman. In the living room, he noticed a photo album left ajar on the coffee table. As he delicately flipped through its pages, the visual narrative of Mrs. Thompson's life unfolded before him. Birthdays, holidays, and snapshots of cherished moments were meticulously documented. Yet, as Jake delved deeper, he sensed a subtle undercurrent of melancholy, hint of untold stories hidden beneath the surface of the seemingly idyllic life portrayed in the photographs. Undeterred, Jake moved through the house with a methodical precision, his fingers tracing the edges of furniture, his gaze scrutinizing every nook and cranny. The kitchen, where Mrs. Thompson had concocted her renowned pies, revealed no signs of hasty departure. The bedroom, adorned with the comfort of familiarity, held no immediate clues to the mystery that shrouded its occupant. As Jake ascended the staircase to explore the upper floors, the weight of the unknown bore down on him. The air seemed thicker,
as if it held the secrets of Mrs. Thompson's sudden disappearance. Each step echoed through the quiet house, resonating with the unanswered questions that fueled Jake's determination. In the quiet solitude of Mrs. Thompson's home, Jake's quest for answers unfolded like a delicate dance between the present and the past. With every room he explored, the mystery deepened, leaving him with more questions than answers. Yet, undeterred by the daunting nature of the task, Jake pressed on, driven by the conviction that within the silence and shadows, a clue awaited discovery, a clue that held the key to unveiling the mystery that had cast its shadow over Harmonyville. The ordinary man with an extraordinary passion for solving mysteries had embarked on a journey that would test his skills and redefine the contours of his understanding of both the human heart and the complexities of life in Harmonyville.
Chapter 4: The Clue. The stillness in Mrs. Thompson's house seemed almost oppressive as Jake continued his meticulous search for any trace that could shed light on her mysterious disappearance. The rooms, once filled with the echoes of life, remained stubbornly silent. Despite his best efforts, the elusive clue he sought remained elusive, and a tinge of frustration began to cloud Jake's usually composed demeanor. As he reached the point of contemplating conceding defeat, his gaze fell upon a seemingly inconspicuous corner of the room. There, lying on the floor like a forgotten relic of the past, was a small, old-fashioned locket. Tarnished with time and overshadowed by the grandeur of the larger pieces of furniture, the locket beckoned to Jake, whispering promises of revelation. With a cautious anticipation, Jake picked up the forgotten trinket. The cool metal pressed against his fingertips, and he marveled at the intricacy of its design. Despite its worn exterior, the locket exuded a sense of sentimental value, a relic from a bygone era that had weathered the storms of time. Intuitively, Jake sensed that within the small confines of this weathered locket lay the potential to unravel the mystery that had gripped Harmonyville. As the hinges of the locket yielded to Jake's careful touch, a delicate photograph greeted him. It was a portrait of Mrs. Thompson, captured in the bloom of her youth, a stark contrast to the image of the elderly woman known to the Harmonyville community. The photograph, though faded with age, reflected a vitality and spirit that seemed to transcend time. Behind the photograph, concealed within the locket's secret compartment, lay a handwritten note. The words, penned with a grace that hinted at a different era, hinted at a hidden past that Mrs. Thompson had kept guarded from prying eyes. Jake's eyes moved across the script, absorbing the carefully chosen words that alluded to a life marked by both joy and tribulation. The note spoke of love gained and lost, of dreams pursued and dreams deferred. Mrs. Thompson's hidden past unfolded in the delicate strokes of the handwritten narrative, weaving a tapestry of experiences that had shaped the woman behind the familiar smile that Harmonyville had come to know. The revelation of this secret life, carefully concealed within the confines of the locket, transformed the mundane into the extraordinary. As Jake absorbed the weight of the revelations before him, a surge of realization washed over him. The mystery of Mrs. Thompson's disappearance was not merely a puzzle of the present, it was an intricate tapestry woven from the threads of her past. The locket, once forgotten and tarnished, emerged as a key to understanding the complexities that had defined Mrs. Thompson's journey. With the locket in hand, Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose. The mystery that had seemed insurmountable was now a puzzle with a tangible piece, a clue that opened the door to a hidden chapter of Mrs. Thompson's life. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Jake knew that he stood at the threshold of something significant. The locket, though unassuming, held within it the potential to unravel the layers of a story that went beyond the surface of a small town and its seemingly ordinary inhabitants. The next steps in Jake's investigation were clear, and as he left Mrs. Thompson's house, the locket securely tucked away, he was propelled into a realm of discovery that promised to reveal not only the whereabouts of the missing woman but also the intricacies of a life lived in the shadows of secrecy and untold tales.
Chapter 5: The Investigation. Emboldened by the revelations hidden within the old-fashioned locket, Jake delved headfirst into the intricate web of Mrs. Thompson's past. The town, once bathed in the glow of ordinary routines, now became the canvas upon which Jake painted his investigation. Each step he took was a brushstroke, revealing the layers of a life that had remained concealed in the shadows of time. The first stop on Jake's journey was the homes of Mrs. Thompson's neighbors, the custodians of the snippets of history that had slipped through the cracks of collective memory. With a notebook in hand and a determination that burned brighter than ever, Jake engaged in conversations that transcended the pleasantries of daily exchanges. He probed gently, seeking the echoes of Mrs. Thompson's footsteps in the narratives of those who had shared the tapestry of Harmonyville with her. As tales unfolded in living rooms and kitchen tables, a multifaceted portrait of Mrs. Thompson began to emerge. The elderly woman, known for her pies and gentle smiles, had lived a life marked by both triumphs and tribulations. Stories of lost love, resilience in the face of adversity, and quiet acts of kindness painted a picture that transcended the surface-level familiarity Harmonyville had with its beloved resident. Next, Jake turned to the town's historical records, where the ink of the past held the secrets that time had attempted to erase. Dusty archives and faded documents became his allies as he meticulously retraced the steps of Mrs. Thompson over the years. Birth certificates, marriage licenses, and faded newspaper clippings unfolded like chapters of a long-forgotten novel, each page telling a story that added depth to the woman who had become the epicenter of the town's collective concern. The investigation, once focused on the disappearance of Mrs. Thompson, evolved into an exploration of her journey through the chapters of her life. With every revelation, Jake's understanding of the woman transformed. The seemingly ordinary facade gave way to a mosaic of experiences, and the tapestry of Mrs. Thompson's existence became richer and more complex with each passing revelation. However, the deeper Jake delved, the more he sensed that the mystery harbored darker corners. The shadows of Mrs. Thompson's past hinted at secrets long buried, and the skeletons in the closet rattled with the weight of untold stories. The detective, fueled by an insatiable curiosity and a desire for truth, found himself navigating through a labyrinth of emotions and secrets that had been carefully guarded by the passage of time. As the investigation unfolded, Harmonyville became a stage where the ordinary and extraordinary converged. The townspeople, initially unaware of the depths beneath the surface of their quaint existence, began to glimpse the complexities that existed within the lives they thought they knew so well. The investigation, initially a quest to solve a disappearance, now unfolded as a journey to unravel the intricacies of a lifetime that had weathered storms and celebrated joys, a lifetime that held within it the echoes of both happiness and heartbreak. Jake, driven by a sense of duty to Mrs. Thompson and the community, continued to peel back the layers of the past. The investigation became a testament to the power of untold stories, a reminder that every life, no matter how seemingly ordinary, is a tapestry woven with threads of triumphs and tragedies. In the heart of Harmonyville, where the mundane met the mysterious, Jake's investigation took on a life of its own, revealing not only the whereabouts of the missing woman, but also the profound impact that the pursuit of truth can have on the lives of those left behind in its wake.
Chapter 6: The Sad Truth. The air in Harmonyville seemed to carry a weight as Jake's investigation penetrated the layers of Mrs. Thompson's life. The stories that unfolded were not mere chapters, they were emotional landscapes, revealing the poignant highs and lows that had shaped the woman at the center of the town's mystery. As Jake sifted through the fragments of her past, a sad truth began to emerge, a truth that transcended the boundaries of the ordinary and plunged into the depths of human resilience. Mrs. Thompson, the emblem of warmth and kindness in Harmonyville, had faced a series of heartbreaking losses that had remained concealed beneath the veneer of her daily smiles. The echoes of a love lost in the pages of her youth, the scars of personal struggles etched into the narrative of her middle years, each revelation etched lines of sorrow on Jake's brow. The woman who had been a beacon of solace for others had weathered storms that the townspeople had never fathomed. Her disappearance, it turned out, was not a capricious act but a carefully calculated decision to escape the shadows of her painful past. As Jake connected the dots, he uncovered a meticulous plan that Mrs. Thompson had set in motion. The reasons behind her sudden absence were rooted in a desire to sever ties with a past that had left wounds too deep to heal, to embark on a journey of self-redemption and renewal. The townspeople, who had known Mrs. Thompson as a steadfast presence in their lives, were oblivious to the struggles that had weighed on her heart. The news of her disappearance took on a new layer of poignancy as the community grappled with the realization that the woman they had cherished had carried burdens they could not comprehend. The quaint town, often shielded from the harsh realities that lurked beyond its borders, now faced the somber truth that even the most familiar faces could harbor untold stories of pain and loss. Jake, the unraveler of mysteries, found himself navigating the delicate terrain of human emotions. The revelation of Mrs. Thompson's sorrowful past painted the investigation with hues of empathy and understanding. He became not only a detective seeking answers but also a witness to the intricate tapestry of a life that had unfolded far from the public eye. The sadness that permeated the truth of Mrs. Thompson's disappearance echoed through Harmonyville. The once bustling streets now carried a solemnity as the townspeople grappled with the realization that their beloved friend had chosen solitude to confront the demons of her past. The cafe, where Jake had once enjoyed his routine coffee, now buzzed with subdued conversations as the community processed the newfound knowledge. In the wake of this revelation, Jake became a bearer of empathy, offering a bridge between the townspeople and the sorrowful truth that had come to light. The investigation, initially a quest for answers, transformed into a journey of communal understanding and compassion. Harmonyville, once a haven of routine and familiarity, now stood at the crossroads of acknowledgement, a town that had witnessed the unveiling of a story both heartbreaking and profound. As the sad truth settled over Harmonyville like a gentle mist, Jake grappled with the weight of the knowledge he had uncovered. Mrs. Thompson's disappearance, once shrouded in mystery, now stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the silent battles waged behind the facade of ordinary lives. The investigation had evolved into a poignant exploration of the complexities that lay beneath the surface of even the most familiar faces, leaving behind a town forever changed by the revelations of one woman's painful journey.
Chapter 7: Lessons Learned. The revelation of Mrs. Thompson's hidden struggles sent ripples through the tight-knit fabric of Harmonyville. The once bustling community now found itself shrouded in a collective sense of shock and sadness. As the townspeople grappled with the newfound knowledge, Jake stood at the center of this emotional maelstrom, recognizing the profound lessons embedded in the tapestry of Mrs. Thompson's life. In the wake of the sad truth, the ordinary-looking lives of Harmonyville's residents took on a renewed significance. The realization that Mrs. Thompson, a pillar of kindness and strength, had silently borne the weight of personal tragedies underscored a universal truth, that behind the veneer of everyday routines, every individual carried a story, often untold and hidden from the prying eyes of the world. Jake, the unwitting detective turned harbinger of empathy, became a conduit through which the lessons of Mrs. Thompson's life resonated with the community. The cafe, once a backdrop for casual conversations, now transformed into a forum for shared reflections and contemplation. The townspeople, united in their grief, discovered the importance of looking beyond the surface, beyond the familiar smiles and routine exchanges, to truly see the depths of the lives around them. As Jake observed the collective response to Mrs. Thompson's tale, he realized that empathy and understanding were the cornerstones upon which communities thrived. The shockwaves of her hidden struggles had shattered the illusion that appearances could be trusted, that the surface was an accurate reflection of the vast emotional landscapes concealed within. The lessons learned in the aftermath of the revelation were profound. Harmonyville, once a haven of routine and predictability, embraced a newfound awareness of the complexities that defined its residents. The significance of a kind word, a gesture of support, and the acknowledgement that everyone carried their own burdens became the guiding principles that breathed life into the town's communal spirit. The ordinary became extraordinary as the community grappled with a truth that transcended the boundaries of Harmonyville and echoed the universal human experience. Jake, having become not only a detective but a bearer of profound lessons, witnessed the transformation of a town. The once unseen struggles, tucked away in the corners of everyday life, now stood acknowledged and understood. In the chapters that followed the revelation, Harmonyville became a tapestry woven with threads of compassion and shared humanity. The communal grief, once a heavy burden, became a source of strength as the townspeople leaned on each other for support. The town square, once a place for casual greetings, now hummed with conversations that delved into the intricacies of life and the shared responsibility of lifting each other's burdens. As the community embraced the lessons learned from Mrs. Thompson's tale, the once hidden sorrows became a catalyst for transformation. The cafe, where Jake had initially overheard the whispers of Mrs. Thompson's disappearance, now echoed with the collective wisdom gained from the intimate knowledge of one woman's extraordinary journey. Harmonyville, forever altered by the events that had unfolded, stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of empathy in the face of life's unpredictable turns.
Chapter 8: A New Beginning. As the echoes of Mrs. Thompson's tale reverberated through the once tranquil streets of Harmonyville, a transformative energy infused the air. The revelation of hidden struggles, coupled with the lessons learned about empathy and understanding, became the catalyst for a collective process of healing and renewal. The town, once shaken by the mysterious disappearance, now stood at the threshold of a new beginning. Harmonyville, in the aftermath of the revelation, resembled a landscape touched by both sorrow and resilience. The townspeople, united by a shared understanding of the complexities that lurked beneath the surface, embarked on a journey of healing. The community, once bound by routine, discovered a newfound strength in vulnerability, recognizing that openness and compassion were the keystones of communal well-being. At the center of this transformation stood Jake, the unwitting detective who had unraveled the mystery and, in the process, played the role of counselor and confidant for the town. His journey had transcended the boundaries of mere investigation. It had become a narrative of shared grief, collective learning, and, ultimately, a source of hope. The once ordinary man, with an extraordinary passion for solving mysteries, had evolved into a symbol of resilience and compassion for Harmonyville. The cafe, where the threads of this tale had first been woven, now served as a gathering place for the townspeople to share their reflections, fears, and hopes for the future. Jake's presence became synonymous with reassurance, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, the strength to overcome lay within the bonds of community and understanding. As Harmonyville navigated the path toward a new beginning, Jake found himself changed by the experience. The lessons learned from Mrs. Thompson's tale had left an indelible mark on his perspective. The once dispassionate detective had become a source of comfort, a listener to the unspoken sorrows of others. The weight of the town's collective stories had broadened his understanding of true strength, a strength found not in stoic independence, but in the willingness to share the burdens of others. In the quiet corners of the town, where once hidden struggles had festered, seeds of resilience sprouted. Neighbors reached out to neighbors, friendships deepened, and the communal spirit became an anchor for those navigating the unpredictable waters of life. The newfound empathy, a gift born from the revelations of Mrs. Thompson's story, became the guiding light that paved the way for Harmonyville's journey toward a brighter future. As the seasons changed, so did the narrative of the town. Harmonyville, once a place characterized by routine and predictability, now embraced the beauty of shared humanity. The transformations, both individual and communal, marked the beginning of a chapter where the threads of understanding wove a richer fabric of connection among the residents. Jake, having witnessed the town's metamorphosis, understood that the essence of strength lay not only in solving mysteries but in the ability to extend a hand to those in need. The detective, turned counselor, had become a living testament to the idea that the strongest communities were those that cultivated compassion and fostered an environment where every story, no matter how hidden, could find a voice. The tale of Harmonyville, once marked by mystery and tragedy, had now become a narrative of resilience and renewal. The town, having weathered the storm of Mrs. Thompson's disappearance, emerged with a newfound appreciation for the fragility of life and the strength found in unity. As the sun set over the transformed landscape, Harmonyville stood as a testament to the enduring power of empathy and the limitless possibilities that arise when a community embraces the lessons learned from its shared history.
Chapter 9 to Conclusion. As the final chapter unfolded in the story of Harmonyville, Jake found himself standing at the crossroads of reflection. The events that had transpired, from the quiet routines of the town to the revelations of Mrs. Thompson's hidden struggles, had left an indelible mark on the fabric of his own understanding. Life, Jake realized, was a labyrinth of mysteries, some concealed in the shadows of the most mundane moments. The tale of Mrs. Thompson had become a poignant reminder that every individual, no matter how ordinary they may seem, harbors a trove of experiences beneath the surface. The seemingly unremarkable lives of Harmonyville had proven to be a treasure trove of untold stories, both joyous and tragic. In the quiet moments of reflection, Jake contemplated the profound lessons gleaned from the journey. Mrs. Thompson's story had taught him that true strength lay not in the absence of struggles, but in the resilience to confront and overcome them. The town, once shaken by the mystery of her disappearance, had emerged with a renewed sense of unity and understanding. Harmonyville, having weathered the storm of uncertainty, stood as a testament to the transformative power of shared empathy. The cafe, where the whispers of a disappearance had first reached Jake's ears, now hummed with the gentle cadence of conversations that transcended the superficial. The residents, once confined to the boundaries of routine, now embraced the complexities of each other's lives with an openness that spoke to the lessons learned from the mysterious journey they had collectively undertaken. As Jake surveyed the town, he realized that the conclusion of this story marked not an end but a beginning. The threads of shared understanding and compassion had woven a new tapestry of connection among the residents. The invisible barriers that had once separated lives now crumbled, replaced by the bonds forged through shared vulnerability and the acknowledgement that every individual carried their own burdens. The story of Mrs. Thompson, initially a mystery that had gripped the town, had transformed into a profound journey of self-discovery for Jake and the entire community. The experience had irrevocably altered their perceptions of the ordinary and extraordinary, teaching them to peer beneath the surface and recognize the depth that existed within each person. In the fading light of the day, Jake marveled at the resilience of Harmonyville. The community, once shaken by the disappearance of a familiar face, had emerged stronger and more connected than ever before. The mystery had become a catalyst for change, and the lessons learned would echo through the town's history, shaping the way its residents approached life and each other. As the stars illuminated the night sky over Harmonyville, Jake took solace in the knowledge that the journey had not been in vain. Life's mysteries, he understood, would continue to unfold, but the town had discovered a newfound strength in facing the unknown together. Mrs. Thompson's story had become a legacy of resilience and unity, forever etched into the collective memory of a town that had transformed a mystery into a profound chapter of self-discovery and shared understanding.